As the cliche goes, April showers bring May flowers. But usually what comes after is the heat and dryness of summer. Hello again, Essay here. And before the hot weather of the holiday shows up, you should indulge in my new short story, The White Cat, a free exclusive on Substack. The links are down below in description. Join Margot Thompson, a beautiful stage actress and recent widow who finds salvation in the form of a white cat during a night of terror. While checking out my oddball thriller, remember that my Glitch series is still available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The links are down below in the description. While you'll find my peculiar story about a white pussy entertaining, that doesn't mean I'm out of ideas. I still have more stories coming down the pike, so as long as I don't run into any mishaps, you'll see those stories as well. Now let's get back to the video.
Sinner, say your prayers, half-breed! Hey, Harry! Look at this! What's the matter with these cans? Die, milk face! These cans are defective! They're springing leaks! Come over here and look at this!
Listen, you better run for cover. You're gonna spring a leak.
Huh?
We don't have defective cans. We have a defective person out there.
He hates these cans! Stay away from the cans! Die, gas pupper! I gotta get away from those cans! There's cans in there too!
Good, good.
More cans! Die, you bastard!
He doesn't want to put holes in the cans. He wants to put holes in you.
What? Milk face bastard! Oh my God! I'm endangering your life! Cover me!
You're covered.
Suck my toes! You stay here! I'll distract them! Come on! Come on, boy! Good boy!
Hello again, Essay here. What is an assassin? Now, of course, some of you probably say a killer, a murderer. Yeah, that's a pretty colloquial statement. But it was also a group of people. And of course, anyone who's ever played the game Assassin's Creed knows what I'm talking about. And of course, right now you're saying, oh, but that's a video game. Yeah, true, but the video game was based on fact. Yeah. It's a bunch of cats that were running around primarily in what we call Iran. They called themselves the Order of Assassins, or I think that their name was the Hassan. Man, I cannot pronounce Persian for nothing. But if I remember correctly, their name was, in Persian, was the Hassan. And like I said, I don't speak Persian, but I think that's how it was generally pronounced. But yeah, they were basically a religious order, and they basically were also a tribal order. And they took over an area of Iran and basically ran his own private dukedom. And that went on for about, I think, a good 3 centuries. I think sometime between the 11th and 13th century, but yeah. But eventually the Mongols showed up and basically, choked those guys out. So, but hey, we got a decent video game out of it, so I guess that's something. But regardless of that, there were killers long before them. Indeed, anyone who is familiar with Roman history, for example, probably is familiar with the year of the four emperors. And you say, what's that? An incident that happened primarily in 69 AD when four guys, in a matter of 12, remember, this was back when Rome still had a 9-month calendar, because back then there was the Julian calendar, which only had 9 months in a year, and then we had the Georgian calendar came there, had 12 months. But anyway, you had four emperors in 9 months. And you say, how they do that? They kept killing each other. No joke. Yeah, at first you had a guy called, I think it was Gabus, and then another fellow called, man, I can't pronounce this damn Latin, Villidus, I think his name was, and Domine. I mean, these guys were just murdering each other left, right, and center. It was almost like a joke. And then they had another incident that happened not long afterwards, known as the year of the five emperors, where five guys ended up declaring themselves emperor and then killing each other all within a single year. And you say, yeah, we'll expect those damn Romans. I meant those guys are real bloodthirsty. Yeah, I agree. But of course, anyone, like I said, anyone's ever opened a history book knows that we have a lot of history of potentates and kings and prime ministers getting murdered left, right, and center. And indeed, of course, here in this country, we've had our own bad history, whether it be Abraham Lincoln, McKinley, of course, JFK, and his brother Robert, can't forget him, as well as Martin Luther King, too. And a few others in between. But anyway, this video is not really so much about historical assassinations, per se, but it's about one particular assassination, or I should say attempted assassinations. Now, that big boy, Jerry from the Quartering, he's got a video that you have to see to believe. Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
Well, according to Matt Gaetz' new report, Donald Trump is currently facing not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 active groups that are trying to take his life. My first question after reading this is, if you know there are 5, then why are they not being arrested? Also, in this roundup type video, a new battleground state poll came out that is absolutely devastating for Kamala Harris, and if it holds true, would lead to a landslide Trump victory, at least according to, the Electoral College. I still have this deep held belief that he actually has a chance to win the popular vote, but who even knows? Things go burr. All I can do, and I'm not gonna get on you about it, but let's start with the Matt Gaetz information, I suppose, because that's the most concerning. Representative Matt Gaetz claims there are 5 known assassination teams in the United States. Matt Gaetz said during an appearance on Breitbart News Daily that there are currently 5 known teams in the United States, 3 of which are foreign, who are out to end the life of Donald Trump. Tragic, avoidable, Gaetz said when he asked for his thoughts on the second attempt against former President Trump. I'm starting to get the impression that we do not have enough force protection of supporting Trump, or that we ought to give, given the threat environment, he said, noting that he recently met with senior officials of the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, who said there were at least 5 known teams in the United States, 3 of which are foreign, who are out to end Trump's life. Well, I don't know about you, and I don't know, if this would be exactly legal. I'm no expert, But I would have no problem with rounding these people up at least. I mean, I think that's pretty reasonable. Quote, and with that type of activity, I don't think we should be allowing people to set up for an extended period of time and wait to take their shots outside of a golf property or his other properties, Gates said, expressing concern that the second suspect, Ryan Routh, was previously known to officials encountered at the border upon his return from the country of Ukraine. And the Customs and Border Control thought his story was so suspicious that he was recruiting for freedom fighters all over the world to go to Ukraine, and that they asked him how he was financing it, and he said, "Oh, well, my wife is paying for it." And that seemed odd, so the CBP officials referred Ryan Routh to the Department of Homeland Security's investigation unit to determine what was going on, and they declined to even proceed with an investigation. I wonder why. You know, a lot of times you have like these whack jobs out there that, you know, they're just like, well, we're just going to turn the other way and whatever happens, happens, I suppose. Host Mike Slater pressed Gates on the claim of 5 different teams existing in the country, and Gates reiterated that they are aware of at least 5 teams in the country that are gearing up towards ending Trump's life. And you think we know 3 of them we know are foreign in nature, 2 of them we know are domestic in nature, and calls for force protection that we do not have around the former president right now. I believe they have upped his level of protection to like presidential level. You know, I would assume. When we asked how it would even be possible to have these teams walking around, Gates said simply, insufficient scrutiny to stop them from doing so. 3 of these teams foreign inspired, from my understanding, Iranians, Ukraine, and Pakistan. And you know, the work is obviously challenging to protective detail like a presidential campaign that is vigorous and out there campaigning. Given that threat, Gates said that they are investigating to see if they have the right to protective detail, such as the correct sniper teams and the correct tactical teams. I think we saw that at the rally yesterday. As you know, Trump kind of drops several bombshells yesterday during his speech, saying Iranian hackers tried but failed to interest the Biden campaign in stolen Trump info. So they had, remember back when allegedly Trump was hacked by the Iranians or whatever the case was, okay? Well, they tried to sell that information to the Biden administration. I guess that's how they got caught. I'm not sure there's a lot going on inside the Trump campaign that is worth hacking. I'm just saying, like, he's pretty much an open book. But they did try to sell it to Joe Biden, apparently. That did not go well. But then last night, he talks about, obviously, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, which is on my brand new Tailgates for Trump stickers. So the next batch will have that. He says, together we'll lower tax rates, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation. He then drops these little nuggets on Kamala Harris.
Unbelievable. During her period of 3.5 years, she was in charge of the border. She lost more than 325,000 migrant children, many of whom have been trafficked, raped, and many of whom are dead. Many of whom are dead. Think of what that is. That's like Yankee Stadium filled up many, many times. Think of it. Think of it. As California Attorney General, she redefined. Unbelievable.
Then he goes, confirming agencies of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden administration released a report confirming that Iranian, this is another bombshell.
And just today, 3 agencies of the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden administration, the FBI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, they just released a report confirming that Iran actors hacked into the Trump campaign's email accounts and in turn sought to give the hacked materials to the Biden-Harris campaign. They gave them all of the materials because Biden is working with Iran, and Iran doesn't exactly like me because they were ready to make a deal, except we had an election that was rigged and stolen. And look at what's happening to
Trump was just back in rare form last night. Look at this, too. I mean, just a clip of him going down what Kamala Harris is actually running on.
Kamala Harris is for wide open borders with terrorists and criminals pouring into our country, more inflation, even higher than the last 4 years, which was a record. She wants to pack the Supreme Court. Think of that one. And today I heard it all. I thought they wanted maybe 11, maybe they wanted 13. That's an unlucky number, so maybe it would be 15 instead of 9. But instead of 9, Kamala wants to bring up potentially as many as 25 justices so that they can rig the system like they rig everything else, including elections. And maybe one of the worst things of all, she is a true believer. And again, I said this before, if you want to defund the police, if you've been there even for a day, in your mind you want to defund the police even for one day, you are not qualified to be the President of the United States. It's too great. And you know what? If we don't win this election, it's very possible we'll never have another chance. We have to do it. You have to get out. You have to vote. But Kamala vowed to abolish ICE. She supports free health care for illegal aliens. How about that one? You don't get free health care.
Just like, boom, boom, I mean, he also goes on to talk about banning fracking, 80% tax rate, communist price controls. I mean, almost everything that he says is true, and people in the comments are like, "Man, that's a lie." They're melting down because Kamala has been hiding, and she's been doing a great job at it. Trump has done 50 or 60 rallies and interviews. Kamala Harris has done 0. I think I've checked that, 2 interviews. One with CNN and one with some random person from ABC. She has done 0 press conferences where Donald Trump has probably done a half dozen or more. He was just on fire last night. This is probably one of my favorite things. And again, it's so true.
We can do all of this and more, but patriotic New Yorkers must get your asses out to vote.
Yeah.
Get up. Harry, get up, Harry. Harry, get your fat ass out of the couch. You're going to vote for Trump today, Harry. Get up, Harry. Come on, let's go. Let's go, Harry.
He's right. There are 5 active teams trying to assassinate Donald Trump right now. Everything is going against him. He needs a ground game like he's never seen before, and we're it. I'm doing it with my Tailgates for Trump stickers, and you're going to do it by finding a disaffected or agnostic friend and just take him to early vote. A lot of people are like, I don't want to wait in those lines. There are no lines when you go early in-person voting. It's easy. If every one of us gets 1 or 2 other people to vote, he wins the election. It's that simple.
Okay, you saw that. Now, of course, anyone who's been paying attention to the news knows that, yeah, Trump got shot in the ear, but the guy was aiming for the back of his head, so. And then, of course, you had this other clown who has a real murky history, who didn't even get his shot off because, what can you say, the guy was no Oswald. Woo. Thank God. But, yeah. I mean, because the information on that clown, I mean, it just smells wrong. I mean, think about it. The guy they caught, the one hanging out at the golf course, supposedly he'd been hanging out in Ukraine for, I think, like 2 solid years, doing God knows what. And supposedly, I think he was trained as a construction worker or a plumber. And the guy, according to Jesse Waters, that goofy guy, supposedly he was married briefly, but then got divorced. And supposedly he was so broke that his ex-wife actually, wanted to vacate the judgment against him, for child support. And then this guy, and I think you may have seen pictures of this clown, he didn't look like much. fact, he's almost like the back end of a shaved cat, to be honest. And yet, supposedly, according to Waters again, he was shacked up with some woman works at Victoria's Secrets. And you saying me one of the angel models? They didn't get to that level of detail, but I'm presuming probably wasn't. Unless, of course, the woman's got a couple of screws loose. But yeah, he was shacked up with her. And then in Hawaii, and then all of a sudden he runs off to Ukraine. And supposedly he was hanging out there for 2 solid years. Doing what? Well, this is where things get really murky. I mean, supposedly, allegedly, he was trying to get a bunch of Afghans, and no, I don't mean the Taliban, I'm pretty certain it wasn't those clowns, to come to Ukraine by way of Iran to fight the Ruskies. And I'm thinking, okay, and who's be paying for these people's round trip tickets, huh? See the problem? And the funny thing is, this guy had allegedly, according to records from the Justice Department, he had gotten stopped over 100 times for felonies, and yet he never spent a day in jail. Nothing. Ever heard that book series Jack Reacher? In fact, you probably saw the Tom Cruise version. Hey, I saw Tom Cruise version. Actually, I like that film. But remember, in the film version, he was supposedly an international man of mystery who was seen could snap his fingers and get out of any kind of trouble anytime. Like he had like an old French carte blanche. And of course, anyone knows anything about the ancient regime of France knows that if you walked around with a carte blanche, that basically meant that you were above the law. You could do whatever you want, and nobody could say jack to you. Don't believe me? Go look up the Three Musketeers, and they actually mention the carte blanche in the book. But anyway, and I'm looking at this guy here, and I'm thinking, does this guy walk around with a carte blanche? The fact that he supposedly is doing all kinds of weird, crazy stuff, and is not getting stopped by nobody, not local PD, not FBI. And even though the FBI claimed that they actually opened a file against this guy, I think they said 2008, 2019 for, I think it was a weapon of mass destruction. I said, wait, what? But then his file was closed. Who is this guy? And of course, this is the part that really was really kooky. This guy was running around the world. He wasn't just in Ukraine. He was supposed to be going to other places too. And this guy had, in the immortal words of Elliot Ness, had no visible means of income. And I'm thinking, this guy supposedly runs around the world. This guy supposedly had the feds looking at him, but they didn't do anything. Supposedly he initially had been arrested for like 100 felonies, but never spent a day in jail. I mean, is this guy Jack Reacher? A real life version? And then, of course, when he finally got stopped trying to kill Trump, the gun that he had, the serial number was ground off. Now, some of you are probably saying, oh, well, most criminals do that. Do they? Maybe the smart ones, but most people in jail are not very smart. That's why they're in jail. But who is this guy? I mean, seriously. And of course, some of you really smart kids playing, he may have been a CIA asset. And I'm thinking, okay, I mean, that's feasible. Because, for example, anyone who was familiar with an incident that happened not too long ago in Haiti, where, if I remember correctly, there was a thing, I think, was it the Haitian president I can't remember his name, but supposedly he was assassinated just a couple of years ago. I think it happened in 2021. And I remember when that case happened, it was so weird because apparently what happened was that a bunch of mercenaries from Colombia, no less, showed up in Haiti, went to presidential palace, kicked in the door, and killed the president. Like they were going down the street for, like a damn pack of smokes and a 40 ouncer at the local liquor store. Like no big deal. But apparently they didn't get out of the country, like they got stopped. And now they and believe me, because the Clayton Moore's over at the Redacted, in one of his videos he said that there was a good probability that those mercenaries, who I think are still being held, I don't think they put them on trial or anything, but they may have been. Are you ready? On CIA payroll. So I'm thinking, okay. Now the next question is, why would the CIA want that guy dead? Because the guys that are holding these mercenaries from Colombia, they ain't talking. And now you're looking at what almost happened to Trump at his golf course. This guy who runs around the world, has no visible means of income. Supposedly the FBI is looking at this guy, and I suppose the CIA as well. This guy supposedly had been arrested, but never spent an hour in jail. And then he only gets stopped finally when he's trying to basically, ventilate Trump. Yeah, real suspicious. And of course, as you saw in that video, apparently there's 5 more knuckleheads out there running around right now. Matt Gaetz. And they said that 3 of them are from outside the United States and 2 others aren't. And I'm thinking, and where you getting your information, homie? Because you would think that if there's like 5 different groups of assassins running around the United States right now, looking to put Trump's head on a pike, you would think, FBI, where are you guys at? Huh? I mean, you sitting there over in the corner still smelling your farts? Really, dude? You still running around chasing down old ladies protesting in front of damn abortion clinics? You're still running out in damn Alaska, harassing people who you thought may have been on the Capitol back on January 6, 2021? Really, dude? I mean, what the hell's going on? I mean, seriously, what the hell is going on here? This makes no lick of sense. I mean, if this was back during the George W. era, and damn people back in those days announced that there was like 5 different groups of Al-Qaeda guys running around the United States planning terrorist attacks, man, the damn Homeland Security, FBI, local people be turning this damn country upside down looking for those clowns. No joke. I mean, talking about out there beating the bushes looking for those cats. But because I guess it's old Trump, they say, oh, we're okay. We're cool with this. I mean, what the hell? I mean, this is just nuts. This is just crazy town stuff. It's like the people in this damn country who's supposed to be in charge of security don't seem to give a shit. And indeed, if you remember, this second clown only got caught by accident because he stupidly pointed his rifle through a hole in the chain link fence. Because I actually saw a video of the actual place where that guy had set up his little sniper's nest. Yeah, supposedly Trump, his country club has like a tree line and has like chain link fence right behind it, and actual golf course is right past that. And the clown actually pointing his rifle through the chain link fence. And that's the only reason why he got caught. Now, of course, if he didn't do that, it's a big question of whether or not the Secret Service even would have saw that guy, especially if he was like wearing like a bunch of camo. In fact, anyone who was like ever seen like a sniper camouflage suit, I forgot what they're called, but I've seen them before, and have to admit they're really really good, because I remember first seeing them in the 20th century, and it looks like it's not just like a camo suit. It looks like a big blanket, and it looks like the outer surface looks like weeds and moss, and you can cover it yourself. And if you're like in a grassy area, people will walk right past you thinking it's just a pile of lawn clippings. Except it's not. It's a person there. I've seen this. I've seen these damn sniper camouflage suits. Like I said, they're very very good. So yeah, I'm not saying that this clown got caught down there in Florida had something like that, because I'm pretty sure if he did and he kept his cool, he probably would never have been noticed, and Trump probably be dead right now. So I'm presuming he didn't. But yeah, you seriously wonder what the hell's going on here. Now, of course, a few people, like Tucker Carlson, he thinks it's deliberate, that these assassination attempts are like accidentally on purpose, that these people who are going after Trump are not just randos falling out of trees, that these people are being sent by the deep state. Are they? Don't know. But I remember a long time ago reading, I forgot who wrote it, but it was about the assassination of President Kennedy. And they said that if someone is hell bent on wanting to kill you, they will eventually succeed. We're not talking about random individuals, we're talking about like organizations. You know, like for example, in the aftermath of the 1972 Olympics, and of course anyone who remembers that incident probably remembers what happened. You know, when Black September killed all those Israeli athletes. Well, anyone who's ever read The Sword of Gilead, it's a book about what happened afterwards, where the Mossad basically went on a tear across half the world, hunting down the remaining members of Black September, and was assassinating them. Yeah. Now, I'm not going as far as to say that that's what's going on with Trump, that these killers or wannabe killers are all working for a singular organization. I'm not going that. I'm not going out that far on a limb. But it makes you suspicious. It really does. Because Michael Moriarty, you probably don't know him. He's an actor. He used to be on the original Law and Order show. He once said that if it happens once, you can probably say it's an accident. If it happens twice, it sounds suspicious. But if it happens 3 times, it's enemy action. And now so far we got 2 attempts on Trump's life. Now at that point you're saying, okay, it's suspicious. Now we have a 3rd one before the election. At that point you say, okay, we're not suspicious anymore, it's enemy action. In other words, someone is sending these clowns out there to try to kill the guy. So what do we do about it? Well, according to old Trump, his security, Secret Service has been upgraded to presidential status. And I'm thinking, well, that sounds all well and good, but then again, we have lost more than a few presidents. So, let's just say this. If there's a God, Yehuda, or Allah, you can only hope that they're looking out for the brother. because I would hate to think that the phone calls are coming from inside the house. And of course, anyone who's ever seen that old horror film, He Knows You're Alone, knows exactly what I'm talking about. Because if these killers or wannabe killers are coming from inside the government, oh boy. We got more problems than we can possibly imagine. No joke. Well, that's all I gotta say about this insane cavalcade of killers who seem to be falling out of the trees trying to do in old Trump. And that's my opinion.